Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so Dame Lillard just posted something on IG with him and Dame Lillard and KD in Blazer uniforms. Um, no caption, nothing. Just posted in his stories. So, with that being said, I think it's a good chance he's welcoming KD to Portland. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I believe that KD is on his way to Portland, but I think it makes a lot of sense for that to be one of the top destinations for him to go to. And I made a whole video on that a couple of days ago, which makes this whole situation really cool because it makes it look like I know what I'm talking about. But to be honest with you, I don't think I was a genius for coming to the conclusion that Portland was a good spot for him, because it's very easy to see that Dame is a win now player. The Portland Trailblazers are free of cap space for the first time, or free to use cap space for the first time in many years. And he's put in a lot of years of downtime helping them get, to this point where they could finally get out from under the luxury tax penalty. So it's time for them to do right by him, because he's been holding them down, doing right by them. So because I came to that conclusion last summer, I figured it would come down to, now that they've gotten to this point, they would either move him to a place where they could get him an opportunity to win a championship, or keep him home and bring that stuff to him. I don't see why they shouldn't want to bring that stuff to him. If I'm them, I don't necessarily want to build through the draft, because of the fact that I've been in this penalty for so long. I'm ready to celebrate something. So that was my thinking in regards to, if I were Portland, this would be my mentality. Like, let's give our fans something to be excited about now. They've been waiting for us to rebuild and we couldn't. Let's get them something now. So that makes sense for the organization. KD's a win now player, no question, and he doesn't have many places around the league where he can go and be certain that he's going to be running with a teammate that wants to, win right here and now, and is ready to win right here and now. And you look at the way that the idea for KD to play with Kyrie Irving was to play with another player who score first, who can get his own shot, et cetera, et cetera. Someone who could stretch the floor like Steph Curry did, because that created a lot of space for KD to do what it is that he did. Took a lot of pressure off of KD. So I think he wanted that dynamic again, because he had such success with Steph Curry. Obviously, Kyrie, that situation didn't work out. Dame is a similar player in the sense that he can do all of those things by himself. Obviously, a legend in his own right. So that part of the conversation makes sense as well from a stylistic standpoint. If you're thinking about what KD may believe in, that is a good style for KD to play in. Next to Dame Lillard, and you look at the other pieces they just got, Jeremy Grant, as I had pointed out, and that to me signaled that they were ready to win now. As soon as they made the trade for Jeremy Grant, I'm like, okay, they're not done. Because you don't go get Jeremy Grant, bring him to Dame Lillard, and then just say, we're good. Nah, and then draft Shaden Sharp and just call it a day. Hell no. You're still looking to make yourself right now a win now team. So where's the piece? You got the money. Where's the piece? And the piece is KD. The situation opened up in Brooklyn, obviously. It looks like Kyrie Irving is well on his way to my squad, the Lakers. And now it's one of those situations where you expect KD to move on from Brooklyn, because it doesn't really make sense for Brooklyn to keep KD based on the circumstances they have. And I don't think they'll be able to get rid of Ben Simmons for something they can trade him for, that they would like rather. And I don't think it would necessarily be in their best interest to trade Ben Simmons, because it's a really good spot for Ben Simmons. And it's a really good timeline for them to wait for him to come around over the next several years to get back to playing the way he needs to play, and not have pressure to win right now while they figure out what they're going to do in terms of their rebuild. Maybe that gives them a chance to build his trade value up, and then maybe they can ship him out when that contract starts to mature a little bit, as to which maybe he's played himself to a crazy value. Hopefully he has. He's that kind of player, and you can get maybe a draft pick or so for him. Or he's played himself up to a situation where you'd love to have him back. He's an anchor of your defense, facilitator of your offense, and the star of your team. Maybe you then pay him what it is that you want to pay him at that point. But the point is, you've given yourself a cushion for him to get his mind right and body right, back right. Give yourself a chance to restart your situation, get your draft picks back. It's going to take a couple years for them to get that. I don't know where they are with that, but I know they gave a lot away to get the players they have. So that makes sense for them to move on from KD. So all of this pointed around, I'm like, okay, where does KD go? Well, he would have to join someone else's team because every team is pretty much established or is too young to really do anything. So he can take a chance with one of these teams like Detroit. I think that would be a pretty exciting situation, to be completely and utterly honest with you. But no, they're too young. He's not going to win there. He can go to like Orlando, same exact situation with lesser talent, in my opinion. Um, then you go on to situations like, say, San Antonio. I thought that was a viable destination. But given the fact that they're talking about shipping DeJounte Murray, I don't know what it is that they have in mind for their team. I wouldn't be quick to jump into that situation if I'm KD after that news. To be completely honest with you, that took them off the list for me because I'm thinking, well, I'm trying to pair KD up with DeJounte Murray. If they're not trying to keep him there, what the heck? What is KD coming to? So that situation's out. OKC made a lot of sense to me, but we came to the conclusion based on information came to us. I think it was Brian Windhorst who may have mentioned it on television, that the OKC Thunder have their eyes on a draft pick that's coming over the next year or two. Somewhat really, really exciting that they're going to have an opportunity to draft. So they probably don't want to get good right now, bringing KD home. Not necessarily going to fit that timeline, obviously. So you start talking about Miami. Miami's a good spot, but that cap space situation is going to be crazy. And I think in order for them to get KD, they're going to have to deplete themselves of something like Jimmy Butler. And I don't think that's something they're willing to do. Or they're going to have to deplete themselves of all kinds of picks and Tyler Hero and all kinds of other stuff just to get KD there. And I don't know if that's necessarily what they're trying to do. But that's a viable option. However, given the fact that the Portland situation is in the Western Conference, it gets him away from Brooklyn, far away from Brooklyn. It gets him back to a situation where he's close to the Golden State Warrior area, basically Portland. They're what is it, 100 miles away, 200 miles away. So, he's a hop, skip away from a familiar place to play, a familiar place to hang out or whatever. His Golden State roots aren't far away. And of course, then back to the Dame Dollar situation, as to which you also have Chauncey Billups in place. You know what I mean? And that's a big shot guy, someone who knows your game, someone who knows how to use you, I'd imagine. And it'll be a very exciting thing. They got Anthony Simons up there. I'm not sure if they're going to keep him, but I'd imagine he would be an excellent player to use as a facilitator to help get the ball to everybody in that situation. Maybe use him as a two guard. Maybe you got Shaedon Sharpe to start in that situation, depending on how he's developed early. Obviously, Jeremy Grant is your designated defensive player. The next move for yourself is to try to find yourself a center, or you re-sign Nurkic. That's not too bad of a situation there, given the fact that they got some guys on their bench as well who play that position that I think they're excited about, if I'm not mistaken. You also got Nasir Little. So what you're seeing is a strong bench. You got Josh Hart on that bench, strong bench. That's what you already see, and they haven't even opened up free agency yet. So Portland is a good spot because you see the depth there. You see the backups there that can help KD if for some reason he needs to take some time off with injury or what have you. You got the Jeremy Grant piece. You got those other players. Dame Lillard should be healthy. If for some reason Dame isn't healthy, this gives you all kinds of talent that allow Dame to get healthy if for some reason he misses time like he did last year with the growing. KD, Jeremy Grant, Josh Hart, Anthony Simons, they still good enough to make the playoffs in my opinion, depending on how things shake out if Dame isn't healthy. So I don't see any reason why he shouldn't give it a shot. I don't know if I'd sign for no 5-6 years, although a player of his caliber probably does want to lock up for multiple years and would have the flexibility of being able to say, hey, get me up out of here, and ain't nobody going to say no to him. I think he's already under contract. Now I think about it, he's not a free agent anyway, so they're going to be acquiring whatever their contract is at. I didn't check. So no one cares. It's all good. Whatever he's getting paid, he deserves it, and you should be happy to pay it. All 30 teams should feel that way. So at this point, it's just about whether or not he would want to go there and choose there. And judging by what I'm seeing, I think it's a good chance he may. Because I don't think Dame Lillard jumps out the window and posts anything like that unless he has some inclination that this is possible or that it's all good to do something like this. Especially given the fact that there are corporations involved behind these guys. You got, shoe companies is what I'm saying that are going to have some say-so some objection to or what have you in regards to this. So if it weren't cool, I don't think he'd post it, or he'd be taking it down very soon. So yeah, man, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that for several reasons. One, I want to see Dame in a good situation, and I want to see him succeed, meaning not have to leave Portland to finally get himself a championship chance. Now, that doesn't mean I want to see him win a championship, because I'm going from my team, so hopefully we're the ones to knock him off. But the point is, I want him to be in a good situation, have an opportunity at it, and if the chips fall in his favor, so be it. But he deserves that chance. And KD too, man. KD has that's another thing. KD needs to go back and win another couple championships. I saw what he posted this morning. That's probably what Dame was trying to get him to understand, trying to get him to kind of, you know what I'm saying, come up here and get it. But, you know, KD was mentioning how, you know, y'all a bunch of haters. And I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying, y'all a bunch of haters. Y'all acting like what I did in OKC didn't happen. Yeah, I was doing a lot of stuff before I went to Golden State. The thing about it, KD, is a player of your caliber, the way we look at it is you didn't win before you got to Golden State. So while that may have been different factors that played into that, at the end of the day, a player of your caliber has to overcome those factors and win, especially when you got the likes of, you know, prime Russell Westbrook, prime James Harden, prime Serge Ibaka. You know, it's one of those situations, prime Reggie Jackson. We expect that team to have won a championship. You didn't stick around to see if they could have did it. I respect why you didn't, got you a championship. But now it's one of those situations where we're still looking at you like, well, you won 2 championships, but yeah, you did enough to Steph Curry, and look at where he's ascending to. So it's now one of those situations where whether people are hating or not, we still all saying the same thing, and it comes down to you got to keep winning, bro. It ain't even about, like, you think this conversation going to end. It ain't. It ain't going to end. And it ain't about what you accomplished before you left Golden State, because in Golden State, you didn't win a championship, and a player of your caliber must win championships. That's the point. Don't care about stats, don't care about efficiency, don't care about defense, don't care about intangibles, don't care about commercials, don't care about any of that. Only thing people care about when you're at the level that KD is that you have collected rings. That's it. Because the guys of your caliber who had that type of talent don't exist. You're one of one, bro. Nobody scores like you. Ain't nobody out there who did that stuff. You got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the skyhook. You got Karl Malone with his moves and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, KD scores easy. Easy, and we expect him to win because of it. So I'm, you know, all for supporting the preservation of his respect as it pertains to looking at that Golden State tenure and saying, yo, he needs his credit. He put his body on the line. He put defense as a forefront of what he was doing, and they won championships with a great deal to do with what he was doing on the defensive end. Because a lot of people want to take away from what he's doing offensively in Golden State, or what he did offensively in Golden State, based on the presence of Steph Curry, which, if you go by the X's and O's I hear makes sense. I do not know. But what I am saying is this. On the defensive end, he was anchoring what they were doing. But him and Draymond Green were anchoring a championship, multi-championship team. So that needs to be the emphasis for his Golden State tenure. As far as everything else in his career, well, I remember him being somebody who was scoring up there with T-Mac and Kobe. And it was a very, very reasonable conversation when he was in year 2 or year 3 if he was a better, more pure, and easier scorer than Kobe Bean Bryant. It was a reasonable conversation, and a lot of people had him as a better scorer and have kept him as a better scorer than Kobe Bryant. And that was before he got to Golden State. So, you know, I remember. I haven't forgotten. I know exactly what type of player that is. I understand, and I have said and will continue to say that there are many players who are, as of right now, historically greater than him, that are not better at basketball than him at all. It's a fact. In fact, it's probably a fleet of human beings at the top of the mountain that couldn't beat him in a one-on-one or couldn't stop him in a team situation. And if they had to go up against him, they wouldn't have had a chance. And we know that. It's the same thing with Wilt. KD, it's the same thing with Wilt. That's the problem. Because Wilt exists, you can get this type of dismissal, bro. Which is why you need to get up to somewhere and get you a couple more rings. The only reason why Steph Curry is in the top 10 conversation is because he won the 4th ring. It's all about the rings. And so that's what he has to do as a A1 leading championship level star first guy. He has to win. Nobody cares about None of the stats. Nobody cares about none of that other stuff. And that's what it's going to be for KD and anybody who was given the God's given talent of that level. It's just what it is, man. Some of these guys, like, if they're not of that level, then we can judge them by the stuff that KD accomplished because they exceeded their potential and accomplished the things that he did. That's the key to all of this. It's about what we knew you could do or what we know you can do. What we believe you can do, man, way more than what you were able to accomplish thus far. Way more. As to where another guy named B may have the same numbers as you, he wasn't as good as KD. So when he did it, get him into the Hall of Fame quickly. Boy, do you see that dude? You know where he came from? Did you see the jump he made from when he was this guy to where he became? Whoa. Man, KD was always whoa. He was always up there. He's been up there since college. It was understood he was going to be this great back then. So it's up to him to just collect the rings. And look, I think he had the right idea when he was thinking going to Golden State in terms of the fit. That was the golden goose right there, finding the perfect fit while everybody else was looking for this place and that place and this place and that place. He was looking to play perfect basketball. He needs to get back to that type of mentality. That's what won. It was the choice to get into a situation to play perfect basketball. Simple as that. So I think Portland is not necessarily a perfect situation, but I do believe it is a better overall role-playing situation than the Brooklyn Nets have had. And I don't know that they don't have a better situation for him right here and now in acquiring Jeremy Grant, even if Ben Simmons is 100% healthy. Because although Ben Simmons is a 100% A1 defensive player, Jeremy Grant is an A1 defensive player, and he's going to stretch the floor a little more. You know what I mean? And he's going to do some things that maybe Ben's not going to do. Now, obviously, your offense isn't dictated by the passing of Jeremy Grant versus Ben Simmons is definitely for that. But you weigh that against the shooting. So I think KD would be in a better situation there in Portland with what they're building versus if he stays in Brooklyn and everybody stays put, Kyrie included. I don't like Brooklyn like that. I just think they're missing too many pieces. That Joe Harris contract is, and they have to figure out how they're going to get some role players that are not on that roster right now. And they don't have that cap space. Portland does. They don't have their picks. Portland does. So that's what I'm excited about. Plus, when you consider what Shaedon Sharp's going to do, he's going to take a lot of pressure off people. Shaedon Sharp, he's a young player, and I don't know if they're going to start him right away, but just looking at the sheer nature of what he can do, he's going to put some points on the board. He is a very talented young man. So if you bring in the KD, it takes the pressure off of that dude to explode sooner. He don't have to be who he's going to be 3 years from now. If KD comes in, Jeremy Grant, Dame Lillard, if for some reason they can't get that piece that they're hoping that KD would be, then they're going to need Shaedon to step up and be Rookie of the Year in order for Dame to have a chance at a championship, in my opinion. So that next piece, whether it's Dame or whether it's KD or someone else, I think it's very important for the Portland Trailblazers to win now. Otherwise, and I'm going to say something blasphemous, otherwise they need to trade Shaedon Sharp for that piece. They need to trade that pick, the number 7 pick they just got, Shaedon Sharp. They need to trade it for a piece. If they're not going to get KD, if they're not going to get one of these free agents, because they can't be win now and have that youngster there and they're waiting on him. That's just not going to work. It messes with your timeline. It messes with his. So, it's all good if you can get that piece. But if you can't get that piece, I'm looking at your situation. I'm saying you got 1 foot in the win now and 1 foot out the win now. And I know you can trade him for something if you have to. So, yeah, that's absolute worst case scenario in my opinion. So that is what I got to say, man. That is what I got to say. I guess it's a Portland Trailblazer conversation. Good luck to Dame, you know what I'm saying? Good luck to the Blazers fans. I'm not, necessarily an ally because I'm a Laker fan, but, at the end of the day, I'm neutral when it comes to certain things. And as it pertains to Dame succeeding, I want to see him win. So it is what it is, man. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.